Welcome to the Jaguar King podcast. I'm your host, Armin. I talk everything Jaguars football, usually in tiers. So if you like anything Jaguars or anything NFL related, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. It really helps my channel grow. And without further ado, in this week's episode, the Vikings are trying to make a playoff push, but they got to get through the neck first. Does anybody remember the 2017-2018 playoffs where the Jacksonville Jaguars just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the divisional round? You flipped over the channel with seconds left. Case Keenum throws a bomb to Stephon Diggs, who miraculously stays in his feet, runs into the end zone, and then throws his helmet 90 yards out of the stadium because they just won the game. Good times, huh? Times are changing, though. The Minnesota Vikings are 5-6, trying to make a playoff push, coming off a victory against the Carolina Panthers, with Captain Kirk leading the ship. The Jaguars are 1-10, coming off a loss to the Cleveland Browns, trying not to mess up the tank. The Vikings have definitely had an interesting season. After purifying himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, Kirk Cousins came into the season a brand new man. Stating no fear of the pandemic, or anything for that matter, he gave us the infamous quote, "If I die, I die." We still aren't entirely sure what he meant by this. We seen him go head-to-head with Khalil Mack and try to bring him down, but then we also seen him lose to the Cowboys. So I'm not entirely sure what to make of this. The Vikings are a hard team to figure out. They have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. They've been competitive. They've even beat good teams like the Green Bay Packers, but then they lost to the Cowboys. To make it to the playoffs, the Vikings probably have to win every single game down the stretch, and the Jaguars are here to make them cramp up. So let's get into the preview for this game. Can the Jaguars win this game? Can Kirk Cousins do the gritty? This week in the NFL is rolling out their My Cause campaign, where players are allowed to wear special cleats to spread awareness to a nonprofit organization of their choice. If you look around to most Jaguar players participating in this event, most of them are spreading awareness to mental health issues, at-risk youth, breast cancer, but Joe Schobert's cleats are for saving the trees in Colorado. That's exactly what I want from my middle linebacker. No regard for human life. And we're going to need every bit of that mentality against Vikings running back Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook has been on a tear this year. He's second place in rushing, averaging 5.2 yards a carry, and he's first place in the NFL with 13 rushing touchdowns. Last week, the Carolina Panthers did their best to sell out on the run and try to stop him. They slowed him down a little bit, but Cook has the ability to get the ball in his hands in the screen game, in the passing game. So even if you stop the running game in particular, he could still be dangerous outside of that. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have not been able to stop a screen literally all year. I'm expecting the first pass to be a screen pass to Dalvin Cook. The Jaguars are 29th in rush defense, allowing 136 yards a game. And they have also lost their best run stopper in Devon Hamilton for the season. So you're telling me there's a chance. Carolina's game plan was to stop Dalvin Cook and put the game in Kirk Cousins' hands. Well, the first part they did pretty good, but the second part they shit their pants. Kirk Cousins had 307 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and one of those touchdowns was actually the game-winning touchdown. Kirk Cousins gets a lot of shit for being Kirk Cousins, but this recent turnaround in the Vikings record has a lot to do with the quarterback play of Kirk Cousins. Before the bye week, the Vikings were sitting at 1-5. Kirk Cousins had 10 interceptions already on the season. Since the bye week, the Vikings are 4-1. Kirk Cousins has only thrown 1 interception, and he paired that with 12 touchdowns. Perhaps he's been doing the Marshawn Lynch pregame ritual. Before each game, he's probably taking a shot of Hennessy. The Jaguars' pass defense has been one of the worst in the NFL all season, and then Baker Mayfield just carved them up, and his stats probably would have looked a lot better if it wasn't for some missed throws. And the Vikings have some weapons in their passing game. Starting with Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen didn't play last week, but he was sitting at home stomping around when Chad Beebe caught the game-winning touchdown pass. You might have thought that was pure joy, but he's actually super angry another white wide receiver caught a touchdown pass. They also have Offensive Rookie of the Year, Justin Jefferson. Jefferson is leading all rookie wide receivers in receiving yards, and he's also leading the league in gritties per game. They have a solid veteran tight end in Kyle Rudolph, and they also have a promising rookie Irv Smith behind him, who honestly, he kind of just looks like a wide receiver while he's out there, but he's a tight end. But I believe he's questionable for this game and might not play. If he does play, he's definitely a threat in the passing game for them. The Vikings are having trouble with their interior offensive line, dealing with some injuries, so that is one area that the Jaguars could take advantage of. They blitz the A-gap and blitz the guards. They might be able to put some pressure on Kirk Cousins and force some errant throws. The Jaguars defense definitely have a tough task ahead of them. Last week against the Browns, they had a lot of practice squad players and first-year players get their feet wet. Hopefully that experience will help them when they play the Vikings, or their feet will just be drenched. So let's look how the Jaguars offense can beat this Vikings defense. I feel like I always start this way, but run James Robinson. Even though the Vikings rush defense is better than the pass defense, run James Robinson. He is clearly our best player, and we need to get the ball in his hands to keep the defense honest if we want to have any chance in this game. Speaking of James Robinson, the Jaguars decided to mic him up against the Browns last week. This might not seem like a big deal, but all the Jaguars have been talking about how he doesn't say a word, he's extremely quiet, and he just gets the job done. So why'd you mic him up? Anyway, the Vikings this season have been struggling on pass defense. They are ranked 24th in the NFL coming into this game. With a healthy Gardner Minshew available, the Jaguars still opted to go with Mike Glennon as their starting QB against the Vikings. Rumor has it that Doug Marrone actually wanted to go with Gardner Minshew, but Mike Glennon couldn't hear him because his head was in the clouds. Sorry guys, I'm running out of Mike Glennon neck jokes. The Vikings don't rush the passer that well. In the beginning of the offseason, the Vikings traded for Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end Yannick Ngakoue. He was leading the team with 5 sacks until Mike Zimmer said, nah, that's enough. Ship him out of here. And he got traded to the Baltimore Ravens, and he still leads the Vikings in sacks. This is a game that very well can come down to the hands of Mike Glennon if the Jaguars defense can create some turnovers, and if Mike Glennon plays like how he did against the Browns, then the Jaguars actually have a chance. So for my prediction of this game, I'm going with the Vikings to win it 28-17. I think the Jaguars defense struggles with the Vikings offense. Kirk Cousins has himself a good game to complement Dalvin Cook's rushing attack, and Mike Glennon comes down to earth a little bit, throws a pick or two maybe, and the Jaguars lose this game. The Vikings are trying to make a playoff push and stay alive in the NFC playoff race. The Jaguars are 1-10, trying to put good film out there, playing for their jobs because there's going to be a new GM next year in Jacksonville. So either way, I think it should be a good game. Thank you all for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this game. Do you think the Vikings win it? Do you think the Vikings have a chance at the playoffs? Let me know what you think of Kirk Cousins. Is he possibly going to be the Vikings QB next year? Definitely leave your predictions below. Thank you for all those who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you for all the support, and I'll see you for the recap.